bowl. No. You pour hot soup into your leftover soup that's room temperature, you would be allowed to add more hot soup. You're recooking soup, right? The soup was cooked, came room temperature. Now you wouldn't be allowed to add more hot soup. And you're also not over there. It's more obvious that you're not allowed because it's going to recook, going to make the soup in your bowl hot again, right? But even the matzo ball, it's not changing the temperature of the soup. Still not allowed because when it hits the surface, it does recook it. It does, right, it recooks. In other words, it cooks the surface. It cooks the surface, but everything mixes so fast that you're not even aware that anything happened. Get it? The answer for 6 is no. 7, 8. 7, 8. And then ask it, 7, 8. Is it permitted to remove food from a pot that's on the fire? Well, the pot is on the fire. You're going to take out food. Pot is on the fire, on the bluff, on the fire. You want to stick out.
Can, but you have to have your hand on it. No, you have to take it off. Yeah, but you have to take it off until you have it on.
When it's on top of, when you have the pot of soup, the pot of chalk, whatever, on top of the fire, on top of the blech, directly over the fire. So we're not allowed to stir because even though it's cooked already, the Chum decree that you're not allowed to do it because what if it's not cooked? Usually put on the fire is not cooked. So you can't stir the pot. And also to scoop out food is also prohibited because if you scoop out, you might come to stir. So they don't allow you to stir, they don't allow you to scoop out food from the pot while it's on the fire. The answer is no, you cannot scoop out food from the pot while it's on the fire. Now, there is a difference of opinion. What if you're not scooping out, but you're just taking out the potato that's on top? And you say, what's the difference? Generally, when it says you cannot, when I'm referring, I said remove food, I mean scooping. When you're scooping, it's very close to stirring. But when you have, let's say, a dry potato sitting on top of the pot, I don't mean the top, I mean in the pot, but to the top, yeah? Then it's not mixed together. So there are many opinions that will say you're allowed. Some say no, some say yes. You'll hear different things. Oh, you're not allowed. My father actually holds you're allowed. Because it's already like 2 steps removed from what the real concern is stirring. And now you're not even scooping. It's like, you're not even scooping. It's like sitting separately. Some are strict and say you shouldn't. It might be a good idea to be strict, especially with other people around. When people see you doing it, they don't understand. Oh, they're allowed to take food out of. People get confused. I think on a practical note, that will make sense when you have people around you. They're going to learn from you. Even though you take the pot off the fire and then you take. I'm saying if you let me not desperate, sometimes it's hard to take it off. It's a whole thing. And you either get to look at that child and you have the potato and it's sitting on top and it's not going to cause any uproar. No one is like watching you. Usually that's not a approach. Someone's watching, someone's not watching you. If you're allowed, you're allowed. Over here, it's really allowed, right? When it's separate. But you do it, people watch you and you're like, you're allowed to do it. And they're like, you're allowed. It can be confusing for people. Right? That's what I feel. 8. Is it permitted to remove food from a hot pot that's off the fire? Again, I say remove, I mean scooping. I'm not talking about when you have a potato sitting on top of the pot. Remove, I mean scooping food from a pot that's off the fire. Is it permitted? Yeah. Yes, you're allowed. That's not a problem. Is it permitted to stir a hot pot that's off the fire?
No.
No, according to all opinions?
If it's
Is
off,
it according to everyone that you're not allowed to stir a pot? We're talking about the food is cooked already. According to everyone, you're not allowed to stir a pot that's off the fire? Hmm?
Yeah.
Okay, it's machlokes.
Oh.
Some opinions saying you're allowed to because it's off the fire, it's already cooked. There's even on the fire, you're not really stirring, you're not really doing, but on the fire was a decree. Off the fire, many opinions say you are allowed to stir. So the answer is that one should be strict. It's not prohibited, but the proper thing is to be strict and not to stir the child when it's off the fire. Okay, you go to. Oh, what's this?
yeah, we have been.
Oh, you didn't get one.
I did,
Oh.
but I did it back to you.
Sorry. Okay, one second. Now we go to the next sheet. Yes. Okay, so let's go to the next sheet. Question 9, yeah? You have to Okay, question 9. You have it, question 9? Yeah. What is required to permit to leave food on the fire for Shabbos? Then the question? You want to be able to leave food on the fire for Shabbos. We all do that. And what are the conditions that you need to be allowed to leave food on the fire for Shabbos? A. No. Right. Yeah. So now we go through one by one. What permits? Does a blech permit? I mean, if you put a blech, so now you're allowed to keep food on the fire for Shabbos. When I say keep food on the fire, I mean no matter if it's cooked or not, without any condition, because you'll see in B, does being food cooked halfway permit? So in A, we're discussing that the food is not cooked, let's say. And by putting a blech, does not now this allows you to put food on the fire before Shabbos, whether it's cooked or not. That's what I'm asking. Anyone else answer? What's the answer? No. Does the blech, the fact that you have a blech, now you're allowed to keep food there, whether it's cooked or not? It has to be halfway cooked. It has to be so that's B. Does being food cooked halfway permit? The answer is yes. If the food is cooked halfway, then that allows you. The blech does not allow you. But there are opinions that say it does. But
Say that again, so halfway you can.
Right, so for B, the answer is yes. If the food is cooked halfway, you can leave the food on the fire. You don't even need a blech, actually. Halachically, you don't need it. Again, there's the practical way how we do it that's recommended for different reasons that you should have a blech before Shabbos. You should. And then there's halachic, which means like, and it's important to know halach, what's the letter of the law, because what's if in case you didn't, you forgot, or whatever. So if the food is cooked halfway, it's fine. You don't need a blech. You can leave the food on the fire before Shabbos. Halachically. Now, in A, does a blech, what about, does the blech itself allow you? There are opinions that say it does, but that's not what we go by. Clear so far? See, what about water? What is my question? What about water? What about water? What's the question?
Huh?
Like, yeah?
Yeah, well, water, I feel like you turn the urn on.
Right.
So you can.
So does the water have to be half cooked before Shabbos? This to be boiled. This to be yatsoi ledis. Not piping hot, but yatsoi ledis, which is at least it should be 160. To be safe, it should be at least 160 before Shabbos. D, is there?
Question.
Yeah.
Let's say it's 2 minutes before Shabbos and I realize I haven't turned the urn on. and it would probably, and it might earn like not great, it's not gonna completely get it yard to letters in 2 minutes before shopping.
Listen.
Then I should either, I shouldn't write,
You shouldn't, no, you shouldn't put me in, no, you're not allowed. No. Is there a situation that raw food permits? That means the fact that the food is raw before Shabbos, now you're allowed to keep it on the fire before Shabbos. In such a situation, because the food is raw, now it's okay. What is that all about?
If the food is completely raw, then you're not gonna expect to eat it that night, so you
If
won't.
the food is completely raw, like if you have a pot of raw potatoes, so then it's okay. Yeah,
Yeah, it's supposed to be raw.
what?
Meat and legumes are supposed to be raw.
What about potatoes?
Okay.
So potatoes is not correct. Potatoes is not a good example. So so D is referring to specifically to meat and legumes. That's what it's referring to. If the meat is raw and the legumes completely raw, then you're allowed to leave it on the fire before Shabbos. And you don't need to have all the meat raw. All you need is one piece of meat raw. That's all you need. Right before Shabbos, if you put in one piece of raw meat, doesn't matter what happened before. So you have one piece of raw meat that was put in right before Shabbos. Now it's okay.
Why is that from the
The reason is because in those days, the fire was not as efficient as these days. And if you put in raw meat on the fire before Shabbos or legumes, it will not be ready for the night anyways. It won't be ready until the next morning. Being that it won't be ready anyways till the next morning, we're not concerned you're going to come to stir the fire, which is the whole concern of that the food has to be cooked halfway, because it might cook to stir the fire is not doing well. So here there's no concern. Now, how do we apply it? How do we apply it these days? Members will discuss how do we apply these days the idea of raw food before Shabbos. Do we apply the same thing? The crock pot, huh? You said you have written down the crock pot, yeah? Very good. Took good notes. It primarily refers to a crock pot. A pot on the fire, not everyone agrees. Some say yes, some say no. When you put raw food in a pot before Shabbos, our fires are very efficient. It's going to cook. It's going to become edible at night already. So there are opinions that say it doesn't work these days. It doesn't apply. The halacha of raw food does not apply to a pot. But a crock pot, everyone agrees, because a crock pot cooks very slow. So you put it in on a low temperature and it takes a long time to cook. Everyone agrees that it does apply to that. So a lot of people do that. They put in the chalent right before Shabbos, raw, but it has to be meat in there. Making a parv chalent doesn't work unless you used legumes, beans that wasn't soaked. So it takes a long time to cook. So if you have beans, then it's also good. Right, so D does not apply to potatoes. If it's potatoes, it has to be half cooked.
But if you're putting potatoes in with beans.
As long as you have beans that was put in right before Shabbos, we don't care what else is in there. The fact that you put in something, beans or meat, right before Shabbos, that's completely raw, it means you're removing your mind from it. You're not concerned you're going to come to stir the fire, or as the expression of halacha, stir the coals back then in the days. Hey, is it proper to have a blech b'stove for Shabbos? Yes. As a general rule, whenever we're placing or returning food on the blech, we must always be sure that. So this is a introduction to the next section.
Wait. What one?
Is a right after it says it starts as a general rule. This is introduction to the next part. The next part we're going to be discussing the halachas of blech, 10, 11, 12. On the blech, off the blech, this, you could, conditions. So now we're saying as a general rule, whenever we're placing or returning food on the blech, and we have to have conditions to do it, we must always be sure that it's completely cooked.
And if not, you must be careful not to put in a place where it can become yatziledus. So this is just for the next time we're going to discuss, take off, put your hand on, take off. If it's not completely cooked, there's going to be issue. We're discussing when it's already cooked. 10. What is definition of blech? It's machloikus. It's best to be machmir to consider the entire area that can become yatziledus as a blech. So in class we said a few inches. There's different opinions. Basically, wherever it could become yatziledus, it's better to be strict to treat it as a blech, which means that when you take food off the blech and you want to put it back, and we're saying that and in other words, if you want to put food on the blech that was never there before, if you want to take out, let's say, cold potato kugel from the refrigerator and put it on the blech, which you're not allowed to do. So what is called the blech? The blech means wherever it could get yatziledus. So not only directly over the fire, but a few inches around it, where it could become yatziledus, we should also treat as a blech, and we should not put food there that was not there before Shabbos. Clear? 11. To be permitted to return a pot of food to the blech, the food must be cooked and still warm. Now I'm telling you a fact. If you take a pot off the fire and you want to be able to put it back onto the blech, the food must be completely cooked and it must still be warm. That's a must. Now you want to return it back to the fire. What else is required? Write 2 requirements. So there's two basic requirements that is standard that you need to know. What are those 2 requirements? Correct. Did everyone hear that? You have to keep on holding the pot, and you have to have intention to put it back. What does it mean you have to keep on holding the pot? Right. So the katchila holding means that you're holding it up. You're holding it up. And I give a suggestion based on Rabbi Farkash brings in the Sefer. Now, when you do is, if it's too hard to hold the pot. Now, if you put it down, it's fine. But katchila, you should hold it up. That's the right way. Now, what I do a lot of times, and he gives that suggestion, it's a heavy pot. Just hold it at the edge. And now you're holding it, so now you don't have the whole weight in your hands. The table is helping you. But it's considered like you're holding it, because if you drop it, it's going to fall. If you drop it, it's going to fall. It means you're holding it. For all practical purposes, you're holding it. Get it? Then you have to have intention to put it back. What does it mean, intention to put it back? What does it mean, intention to put it back? If they have intention to put it back. If I take it off, and then when I put it back, I have intention to put it back. I mean,
You can't be, when you
that
take,
kavanah that I'm putting it back.
when you take it off, you have to already know that you're putting
When
it
you
back on.
take it off,
You're like, let's say it's Friday night and you take it off and you're like, oh, I have leftover
Right.
soup. Okay, this would be like, the people that are coming tomorrow, they like this soup. Like, let me put it back. No, you have to take it, the minute you take it off, it has to originally be in
right,
your
so
mind.
when you before you take it off, you have that intention, you plan to put it back. Okay, there's also another condition. Okay, try a little on your own now, and then we're going to continue. And go through the questions, try to challenge yourself in a few minutes, and then we're going to continue this.
Well, I think, wait, can
Yeah, we're at
I
yeah,
suggest something?
Yeah.
The food then depends how warm it's. If you pull food from one pot to another pot, you're immediately going to cool it down, and then you're just going to recook it. But what if it's already cooked? Number 12.
whereas all the conditions, but it's time for one pot to another
Oh, all
pot,
the
and
conditions are
you
okay.
return
I
it to the
remember
blech. You have all the conditions. Your hand does, 2 people holding it, and you pour it to another pot, and everyone's holding it, it returns to the blech.
So that's what we think about that one.
I think it will depend on everyone that comes in to have it. Oh, yes, yeah. It's so sad. But I wanted to know, but not going got myself. Huh? Especially for
Friday I'm going to my neighbor. And Saturday, I still have to figure out what day it's Friday night.
Going where?
I'm still waiting to hear back from the family. I told Bailey I would take with you. Where are you going now?
My it's okay, so I think that you guys can know.
Wow, it took me a whole year. And I guess it took you a whole year.
Oh,
too.
yeah. I'm doing it. We learned 10 years ago, right? Yeah, I'm so excited. From the focus for you now? Yeah, did you take one? I did take one. Yeah. What's number 14? That was
Hot plate without a setting is similar to a black or the top of a pot.
what?
If you do. I don't know.
Yeah, how you doing as well? So I'm just like, I feel like I'm getting the perfect amount of recap without doing any of the work. Yeah, I want to do that.
Well, I'm gonna come back and be like, what do you guys do? And we're gonna be like, nothing.
You know, 15 to 20 on the
Hello, ladies.
Oh my
Ariella.
God.
It's me.
I want to wrap a pot of food in a hot towel. Before Travis, you definitely. On
Hello.
Travis, I think you might still be able to because it doesn't intensify things.
Ariella. So excited to see your reunion. What's up?
Look what I have here.
Got it? Oh my gosh, thank you. All right, we're back to class.
Back to regular.
So what's the answer?
Hi,
for
Rabbi.
question 12? Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
What's the answer for question 12? So if you have all the conditions, but you poured it from one pot to another pot, can you put it back to the black? No, because that is one of the conditions. It's just not a practical condition. People don't usually do it, but if you do it, you have to know that it doesn't work. 13, is conditions necessary to warm food on top of a pot? In other
Yeah.
words,
Oh, no. Well, it has to be
Because it doesn't look like cooking.
right, so in simple words, could I take cold potato kugel out of the refrigerator, dry, and put it on top of a pot? I can't put it on top of the blech area when it's very hot, but could I put it on top of a pot?
Yeah.
Yes, answer is yes. In other words, is condition necessary for a pot? No, you don't need conditions. In other words, you're allowed to put it, the answer for 13 is no. You don't need conditions. In other words, because you're allowed to put the pot directly on top of a pot. 14, a hot plate without settings. Those hot plates, you plug it in, there's no settings, you can't make it higher. Is it similar to a blech, or is it similar to the top of a pot? So can I take cold potato out of the refrigerator and put it on top of my hot plate because it's dry, it's cooked, everything is good. I can put it on top of the hot plate, or do we say, wait a second, is it like a blech? Can I take cold potato kugel and put it on top of my blech on Shabbos?
Well, you're not going to adjust the settings of the on the hot plate that doesn't have.
Very good.
Adjust it.
You're not going to adjust it, right? So therefore, what?
The top of a pot.
So therefore, because you're not going to adjust it, so therefore, what's the purpose of the blech? Purpose of the blech is you don't come to adjust it higher. You don't make it higher. That's the purpose of the blech, to remind you not to make it higher. So now, because it has no settings, you can't make it higher. So now it's similar to a blech. It's like you have the blech already, because now you're not going to make it higher. Get it? Get it? So it's like a blech now. Now, can I take cold potato kugel out of my refrigerator and put it on top, going back to blech now? I'm saying it's like a blech. Can I take cold potato kugel out of my refrigerator and put it on top of my blech? Cold potato cold out of my refrigerator, dry, no bishul. I'm putting it on the blech, on the area over the fire, close to the fire. Can I do that? I can't.
You could.
No, there's no opinion that says you could. You're mixing up with something. You are talking about on the part of the blech that's a few inches away from the fire, right? Directly on the fire. I said this opinion you could.
So there was no need. An adjustable hot plate. You could put something for your body.
Oh, you're talking about a hot plate. Oh, just a second. Okay. You're talking about a hot plate. I'm starting with the blech, correct. A blech, for sure you can't. Right. A hot plate, we're saying, yeah, there is only correct. Very good. A hot plate, there is lenient opinions, but it's really to the side. The main opinions are saying you cannot. So the main opinion is that a hot plate is like a blech. Just like a blech, you cannot take cold potato kugel, let's say, and put it on top of my blech. So a hot plate is the same thing. You're not allowed. There is lenient opinions, but it's really not the right way to go. People do it. They use that opinion, but most opinions don't agree with this. Okay, so in simple words, let me just simplify so I understand what I'm saying. Saying about hot plate, there's no settings. Halachically, you want to take cold potato kugel, put it on the hot plate. You can't do that. You already have food there, and so it's like a blech. You want to take off, have the conditions, hold your hand, have the intention. Well, you go back and forth without a blech, because there's no settings, so it's similar to a blech. Because you're not going to make it higher. You can't make it higher. Okay? A crock pot has settings. So crock pot, if you want to put back to a crock pot, you need to have a piece of silver on the side. Yeah.
Yeah, you're saying the hot plate like the black, or saying like the part of the black that's like on top of the fire, like a couple inches away from it. Right?
You're saying it's like which part of the black is it?
Yeah.
Okay, good question. That's what we touched upon in question 10. Basically, there's a big machlokes. My father disagrees with a lot of other opinions on what a blech is. So I used to it has a lot of ramifications, both opinions, leniencies, stringencies. Make it simple. The blech, the part of the blech that's directly over the fire, and around it where it could become yatziledis, according to many opinions, that is considered a blech. Which means you cannot take, so in other words, if you want to go into more specific details, we could. In other words, I want to take hot potato kugel and put it on my blech. You just said you can't. Yeah, but what does blech mean? Okay, so my father actually holds that the blech means only that little part where the fire is. If it's not directly on the fire, it's not called blech. But there's a lot of things that don't hold that way. So how am I supposed to teach it? Usually I try to go with the majority, but then my father holds kibbutz. There's a certain so what I'm saying, so really a person could choose to go by this opinion. It's a lenient opinion. Now, if you want to go into more details without getting confused, we could. I'll try not to confuse you. The point is, now that you ask, according to my father, if it's not directly over the fire, he says you could, right? It's a leniency, right? There's also stringency. There's a stringency too. So if you're going to take that leniency, it comes with a stringency. It's a package deal. What's a stringency? Anybody? Stringency. You're saying only the part that's directly over the fire, that's the blech. Not directly. If not, and you could put dry potato kugel. There's no bishul. What's the leniency? I mean, that's leniency. What's the stringency? And get the stringency is? Stringency is like this. That if I have a pot that's not directly over the fire, it's a little off, I can't push it back on. If you say, listen carefully, if you say the black means entire area with Yatziledis, so you could move the pot on the black off and on. If you say once it's off the fire, it's not the black anymore. So if the pot, let's say, is sitting on the black and it's only before Shabbos, just when you think they were doing it, it's not directly over the fire, a little bit off, but it's on the black, it's very hot. It's not directly over the fire. I can't push it back on. Okay? But I feel you're asking, so I'm explaining, but to simplify for everyone, I feel, and it's also because there are a lot of opinions that say differently. And in some places they hear other opinions, Yeah, I think to make it simple, any place that's the fire and a few inches around it where it gets very hot, it could become Yatziledis. Let's treat it as the black and don't put dry potato cooking in. It's a simple way to do it. Again, if you understand it well, all the details, and you want to take my father's opinion, and then you can be lenient and also understand the stringency, you can do it that way too. But usually it's confusing. You have to teach everyone and to get everyone to get all these details.
Yeah.
Confusing. So I say, wherever it gets Yatziledis, that's the blech. Don't put dry potato over there. Keep saying dry. I want to bring an example where there's no issue of bishul. And according to that, it comes out that if the pot is a little bit off the fire, you could push it back onto the fire. So again, so then it would be a good thing to be strict anyways, come to think of it, that if the pot, let's say, I'm adding another detail that I didn't discuss before, then let's say if the pot is not, okay, again, according to most opinions, hope I'm not confusing everyone now, okay, according to most opinions, if the pot is a drop off the fire, it's on the blech, but if you look, it's not over the fire anymore, you could push it onto the fire because it's a place where it's very hot. So you're fine. So I don't make an issue because most people say it's fine. According to my father, it would come out that you shouldn't. If the pot, look under the fire, look under the blech. Oh, the pot is not over the fire, it's off the fire. You won't be allowed to push it back onto the fire because it's off the blech already. Oh yeah, unless you have your hand on it. Right, the conditions, you're holding it, yeah, fine. Okay, if there's anything that's not clear, just ask me, because it's very confusing. So we finished end of 14. Next, right now, starts Hatzmona insulating. So no. I got an open's coming tomorrow. Something you want to ask, understand about the next, because Monday we're going to start reviewing the laws about Hatzmona insulating. That's the next sheet. Yeah.
We wanted to say thank you for the invitation for Shabbos, but we already have time for you.
Yeah, I got the message. Yeah, sure. No problem. Yeah.
Another,
It's a show, yeah.
I even I asked my are you going?
Huh?
I asked my she was like, are you going? I can read the group and go with you. She's like, I'm not going.
Sometimes they come. If you want, you could time it with her together. So well to
I
see
did that
you.
with another friend last week.
Yeah. Okay. Good day, everyone.
yeah.
I think as I turn to Smith, I think we're really kind of Ariella, you still there?
No.
I'm sorry.